This week on Beerfish Fanatics podcast episode, we actually have Denny. He's from the YouTube channel Floatfish Adventures. Definitely check it out. I'll put the link below. I'll put also the link on the show notes. And he's actually joining us for a 3-part episode. So he's going to be doing 3 episodes with us. This is the first part, of course. So he's going to give us an opportunity to really pick his brain. So hopefully you guys enjoy.
But can you hear me now?
Yes, but you're like right up in the mic.
Sounds so good like that.
Wow, that's really that's wow.
That goes in with the couch, right? I told you I used to DJ for a long time, right? So
Hey,
I can do the voice.
We're definitely keeping that part in, ladies and gentlemen. So, but FYI, everybody, welcome to another episode. And just so everybody knows, we have the all-star, in my opinion, Mr. Denny here. He's from the famous YouTube.
I thought you were introducing Kit.
This kid.
I'm kind of out of the frame, by the way.
Well, see, so sorry, man.
There we
go.
There he is.
All right, we'll start this again, guys. But it's all right. No, but once again, like I said, we actually have Denny here from the infamous YouTube channel, Floatfish Adventures.
Yep.
So thank you for joining us. Appreciate it.
Yeah, thanks for having me. Cool.
Here at BFF, and we have.
Kit with Fishing Kit.
How you doing today, man?
I'm good. I'm good.
So
I took a nap today, so I'm good to go.
That's always good, man. So today I did not forget. We're gonna start with the beer. For some reason, lately the podcast I keep forgetting. This is also about beer. So today, just so everybody knows, we have Tricycle Cream Ale. It's a Iowa brewery, single speed brewing company. Obviously, it's brewed in Iowa, and I believe they're brewed in Waterloo. Yep, Waterloo. And this is a cream ale. Let me see. It goes 32 IBU. Alcohol by volume is 5.2. So
what does IBU mean?
International bitter. International bitter per unit.
And 1.x OG, right? Is that the original gangsta scale?
Wait, what? 1.XOG.
1.047.
Oh, yeah.
OG.
So,
It's
original
completely-
gangster.
So this is the thing. Dang it! I actually know. The OG stands for original gravity. So what it is when you're brewing the beer, it's like a percentage. Like they have this little water thing that it drips, and it shows you the original gravity, so you know the alcohol content at the end of the brewing. So when you're brewing the beer, you put whatever sugar, because sugar creates the alcohol. Mm-hmm. So then the OG, it measures, it tells you what the original is, so you can kind of estimate what the ending result of the alcohol content will be. So that's what the OG is. I think. I might get fact checked on this like a mofo, but I'm about, let's just say this, I'm about 80% sure. I think that's what it means. So.
I'm going with original gangsta.
Yeah. I like original gangster.
All right, gentlemen. Cheers.
Cheers.
Oh, sorry. We're a mess right now.
Oh wow, why is it so fizzy?
Oh Lord. Yeah. Did we shake it? Did you shake it?
Mm-mm. These ones were sitting there for a few minutes.
Yeah. They were.
So that's actually, it's pretty good.
I saved it. Yeah, that is pretty good. I like that.
Yeah,
I like that. In fact, they'll probably get extra purchases because of this, just because you had me over, because I like it.
I hope so. So Single Speed Brewing Company in Waterloo, guys, check it out. If you're in the Midwest, it's actually a pretty damn good beer. Not bad. I'm pretty impressed. So, anyways, we actually have. Oh, that's what happens, ladies and gentlemen. We asked to have Denny here because I actually am one of his secret favorite fans on his YouTube channel. Like, I'm not that type of guy that goes onto YouTube and comments all the time, but I am the type of guy that will sit there and freaking watch every video because it's entertaining, but also informative at the same time. As you guys know from previous episodes, I'm not the biggest cat fisherman. Here we go again.
I think Denny agrees.
Yeah, but I'm looking to get into it and get better at it, and that's why I've been having people who come here who do a lot more catfishing and everything. At least you guys can give me tidbits. So then, one day I can be out there and somewhat look like I know what I'm doing, kind of.
Catfishing is not where I started. It's not where I started, but it's definitely where I've ended up. So
Really, where did you start fishing wise, like focusing was?
Oh, I was the bass fisherman, I grew up as a little kid bass fishing farm ponds, trespassing everywhere I could find to trespass out in the field and fishing for bass in farm ponds. And that was, I did that forever. So when I got a kayak and started kayak fishing, all I cared about was bass fishing and how can I catch bigger bass, and I tried to target like trophy fish. And then, then I just actually what happened was that the DNR has that pen program, the master angler thing,
Yeah.
And I was like, oh, well, they have the deal where if you catch different species, you get a pin and whatnot. And I thought, well, if I do that, because I really only know how to fish for bass, I'm like, if I do this, that'll force me to learn how to fish for other species. I'll become a better angler all the way around. By the time, and it gives me, I always have something to focus on, this next species or whatever, And so I did that and then started fishing for catfish because that was next on the list. And in the course of fishing, trying to get a 30-inch channel cat, I kept coming really close, but not quite getting there. And I was like, man, these fish, in the kayak, these fish are fun. Because they, even a channel cat will pull you around pretty good, and so that really turned me on a little bit to catfish. And then after the channel cats, I was like, okay, well, I've never caught a flathead, so catching a flathead out of the kayak seems like it's going to be a hoot. So, and then I caught one, and like the first flathead catfish I caught out of the kayak, I'm like, this is it. I don't care about anything else. This is what I want to do. This is it.
Man,
so
you guys are really convincing me to buy a kayak again.
So is there like a time frame for when you started the kayak fishing thing? Like, was this 5 years ago? Longer than that?
Yeah, I guess my first kayak was 6 or 7 years ago. 7 years ago, maybe. 2011, 2012.
2011 was 9 years ago.
I'm going back. 2012. So it was the end of 2012. My kid talked me into it.
Yeah.
My youngest son, he was my fishing partner, and he was like, Dad, he was 13 at the time, and he was like, Dad, we need to get kayaks so we can get out on the water to fish. And I'm like, that sounds like a terrible idea. That's ridiculous. I'm not buying a kayak and trying to fish out of it, And he's like, no, they make special kayaks. And he was researching YouTube and look at this one, and sort of he worked me for a whole summer, and slowly I started watching them on my own. Like that looks kind of fun, And then so I had to buy 2 of everything. So the one for him, one for me, and we got like just entry level kayaks, and yeah, I mean it exploded from there, right? So I blame him now to this day. I'm like, this is all your fault. Right? This is all your fault.
He's probably like, you can thank me.
You're right. So yeah, it worked out. It was pretty cool.
Nice, but. Yeah, I'm gonna have to get another cat. That's it. I'm convinced I gotta get back into it because once my youngest is old enough, I think I'm gonna take care. No, she can't. I got a long time. Forget that. I'm just gonna
just get it.
I'm just
worry about it later.
Yeah, never mind. I'm just gonna get it.
Just get one.
Get one again, because I sold my old one. And I was just like, I'm not gonna lie, I miss it, especially when I see your guys' videos. And I'm like, dang it, I gotta do it. But so. What I do see though a lot is I see your channel that you use a lot of Whisker Seekers. Can you talk to me a little bit about that? Like,
yeah,
because I've seen their polls. It's I know Kit has how many of there?
I got 3.
And
what model do you have? You have medium heavy?
Yep, medium heavy.
Cool.
So you guys talk to me about that because I am gonna get into catfishing. So I'm obviously going to look for a couple polls, and I see all kinds of polls out there, and explain to me what should I be looking for, and why do you guys use Whisker Seeker as your guys' main catfish polls?
All right, well, I think I should go first because then Denny can go into more detail.
I can tell you why you're wrong.
Right, well, like let me see. I used to use like a bass rod for catfishing. I mean, I think that's what a lot of, I guess, casual cat fishermen do. I mean, I guess you can't even call them cat fishermen if they're casual. Can you?
Sure you can. Sure you can.
But yeah, it's like, I'll just take this rod, whatever reel comes on there, nothing too specific, and just use it as a catfish rod. And then, it was probably like, before I even got into the kayak fishing thing, it was probably like 6-7 years ago. Well, anyways, I just decided, you know what, I want something more specific for catfishing. Then I was just doing research, like catfish and carp. That's how I ran into, because he uses a lot of the Whisker Seeker stuff.
Yep.
And then, because I think he did a review. He's got like 7 or 8 of them. And then, he talked pretty positive about them.
Yeah, we have a new series of rods about to come out that his name's on.
Oh yeah. Oh, that's cool.
I think I can say that.
Well, I guess it depends when this airs, right?
I get beep, 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 beep.
Check that.
But yeah, and then I this was around the time when I wanted to like support like local or like smaller businesses kind of thing, and then I found out they're in West Des Moines. Mm-hmm. Yeah, I was like, hey, this is pretty cool. They're from Iowa. This is pretty cool. It's that's just how it worked out. And then after I started using it, I liked it. And then the next year I bought another one, and the year after that I bought another one. That's how I got 3. Nice. But yeah, and then that's when I found like your channel, Spencer's channel. Like, oh, there's these Iowa guys out here. They're using it too. I mean, I haven't heard anything bad about them really.
Yeah, no, I mean, I love the rods, honestly. When I decided to start targeting catfish more specifically, and when I was like, like everybody, most people, I was using just a bass rod when I was targeting the channel catfish, and then I'm like, okay, I need a real catfish rod, especially when I decided I want to start fishing for flathead. I mean, I want to catch a big, and I need to have the right kind of gear for it. And so yeah, I did some research, and I had it sorted down between like 2 or 3 rod companies, and then kind of like you, I realized that Whisker Seeker was local, and I went to Shields, because Shields carries them in store, and I, sort of felt it in my hand, and I'm like, I really like the way this rod feels. So I bought the medium heavy, and was really happy with it. And not long after I got it, I caught another pretty nice flathead, and it just, I managed to get the whole thing from the takedown and everything on film. I had it, I put together a goofy little video on it. And I posted it to their Facebook page. I'm like, I just got your rod like a month ago, and grid fish, and I love the rod, And Matt, the owner, he hit me up like later that day. He was like, hey, I love the video. Can you give me a call in a day or 2? I was like, yeah, okay. So so I gave him a call, and he was like, I really like the video. That was great. I'm going to give you a credit for some extra gear so you can pick some stuff up. I know kayaking is getting popular, and I've been toying with the idea of 1 or 2 people on the kayak guys on the team, So I called up Spencer. And I'm like, well, let's go talk to this guy, And I mean, that's kind of how the whole Whisker Seeker thing happened. But the rods themselves, I seriously love the gear. The rods are it used to be with catfishing rods, they were just all super heavy. They were broomsticks.
Yeah.
Super heavy, fiberglass. Not sensitive. And the Whisker Seeker, they came out with, they have their own proprietary blank that's a combination of glass and graphite. So it's sensitive, and the medium heavy has a real nice parabolic medium action, right? So I like that for the circle. A lot of guys catfishing fish with circle hooks, right? And I like that real moderate, because it allows the rod to load up, in a nice smooth way that the hook, positions the hook in the corner of their mouth like it's supposed to. And then the heavy action is really the same rod. It just has a faster action. It's got a faster tip. So if you're the guy that likes to, set the hook and use J hooks, then the heavy action is I think a little better for that.
I was gonna ask you guys anyways later about hooks. So might as well, since you kind of brought that up. I kind of seen the different types of hooks. Like you said, the J hooks, the circle hooks, the octopus hooks, treble hooks, things like that. You talk to a novice catfish person like myself, I would just take whatever big hook or a treb hook, put whatever meat I can put on that sucker, just toss it with a little bit of weight. Can you guys explain the difference? Because I keep hearing people, like you just said, circle hook. I'm like, okay, I Googled it up, I kind of looked into it. I'm like, I would rather have you guys who use it day in, day out explain the difference of those hooks and why you guys use those specific hooks.
That's pretty much all I use for catfishing, for the type of catfishing that I do, because it's easy, at least for me. And also, like, a lot of people struggle with circle hooks because I think they try to do too much with the circle hook. You kind of basically let it do its own thing.
They come from as soon as you see the rod tip, grab it and set the hook.
Yeah, that's the biggest mistake.
You don't do that with a circle hook.
Yeah.
What happens when you do that?
You just pull the hook out of the mouth.
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah.
So in other words, circle hook don't do what you normally would do, which is set the hook. So you just let the fish take it.
The point, instead of like here's your J hook, right? It's just pretty straightforward. It just curls back and points back to points parallel to the shank. But a circle hook, the point is perpendicular to the shank.
Yeah, it points in at the shank. So it's like this. It's really got a hook on the end, right? So with it's too bad I don't have one here because this is a great demonstration. But
get some upstairs.
But like, what you'll see is that it doesn't, right? So like, this is the fish's mouth, right? And it's in the mouth, and it will slide, and that line, as the fish moves away, the line will come out the side or one side or the other in the mouth, and it will drag that hook to the corner of their mouth, and then it will just hook, right? So you almost always get fish hooked in the corner of the mouth. So it's a good solid hook, hook penetration, and you're not gut hooking fish, and killing them. So I mean, it's especially like for drifting. It's the hook to use for drifting. I mean, honestly, when it comes to hooks, and this is totally going to be a pitch, I know, but the triple threat hooks, the Whisker Seeker triple threat hooks, they're seriously, they're the money hook for catfishing. They really are. They are the gold standard now. I don't care. I'll argue all day long. They've got a little shorter shank, and you can sweep hook set with it, right? So like I've got pictures of fish that are hooked in the top of the mouth, in the bottom, where I've felt it load up a little bit, and I've just leaned into it, and wherever it grabs, and like most circle hooks, you'll pull out of their mouth, but there's just enough gap in it that you can. That's why they call it the triple thread, right? So you can set the hook. You're still not going to just haul off and KVD it, because you will pull it out. You will pull it out of their mouth, but if you do a slow sweeping hook set, you can get a hook set with that.
Can you guys explain a little bit? Because I hear you guys say reel down, reel down with the circle hook. Explain that a little bit, because I can guarantee you maybe 20-30% of the people who listen to this or watching this don't understand that. And I can be the first to tell you that I don't understand the reeling down part. So what is that? Can you explain that just a little bit when you use a circle hook?
I'll let Denny take this one.
That could have been a dumbass question.
Let's go back to the drifting part. For the drifting part, you don't need a reel down or anything, because you're already moving. And when I drift, I think when most people drift, their reel is like locked down. You're not free spooling or whatever.
Right.
Because the fish just comes, takes it. It says with your momentum, you're pulling that hook away from the fish.
So it does it for you, technically, like you're drifting.
Usually in the kayak, especially, but drifting in general, when you get it, so if you're bank fishing or you're anchor fishing and you've got your bait sitting out and it's sitting on the ground or it's maybe even lifted up a little bit off the bottom, that fish can come and you can touch it with its whiskers and it can put its mouth on it and it has time to decide, do I want to eat this? Do I not want to eat this? You know, it can be finicky. When you're drifting, that's a wounded fish that's moving, and the opportunity to eat it, that window is shorter, and right, so the fish has to commit faster. If otherwise, he might lose it. Right? They can track it, they can follow it, but there's still a sense of it's moving, and I have to get it in my mouth. Right? And so typically, when you're drifting, you won't get those little peck bites. I mean, unless they're really small fish. When you're drifting and you get a bite, your rod loads up. And at that point, I mean, usually once the rod is like load up, you're trying to get it out of the rod holder. By the time you get it out of the rod holder, it's loaded up enough that it's embedded the hook, right? The idea of reeling down is to make sure that the rod is loaded, because if you don't have enough tension on the rod and you try and set the hook, it's that slow increase of tension on the rod that is positioning the hook in the corner of the mouth for the fish, right? So the fish will start to feel the tension and typically move away. I mean, it all happens quickly, but it is that process of making sure that you're taking up all the slack and you're loading the rod up, because that is what's going to move that hook in the mouth into the position it needs to be in, so that the hook penetrates.
My mind is blown. I'm not kidding you. Like, I hear you say, reel down before, whatever, and now that makes sense. You know what I'm saying? Like, yep. Your explanation of that, holy cow! Now I get it. Now I understand. Like, you don't just set the hook hard.
Right.
Now I get the reason why you reel down. Oh man, I gotta drink to that one.
I'll drink to that.
I totally just no, seriously. I really that's something that I didn't know. I mean, you can laugh. Others may laugh that listen to this. That how can he not know that? But
there's a lot of people that don't know. Like, I'm on the groups, and people, they're always asking questions about circle hooks. Like, I tried circle hooks, I lost 10 fish. Like, these suck. I'm never gonna use circle hooks ever again. I see that a lot.
Yeah.
I'll tell you where circle hooks give me trouble, and where I have sort of changed my mindset a bit, is with flathead fishing during the day, right? So with flathead, during the day, it's a different game than night fishing, right? Night fishing is sort of like setting a trap. I expect these fish are going to move through here. They're going to be feeding. I want to put my bait right here. When it comes along the channel and moves up on the ledge, it's going to see my bait and it's going to eat it. It's going to take it. It's going to move off. Circle hook will be just fine. During the day, it's more of a hunting game, right? So they don't move around a lot during the day. They will typically find some piece of cover in a hole and they'll hole up into it. So you have to go to them, right? And you can see on, pitch the channel here, right? But you can see some of my videos where I catch flathead during the day. In fact, the last one I posted is a really excellent example, right? You see the rod tip go thump, and then it doesn't, fish, there's this competition thing with fish, and a fish will usually take a bait and then hurry up and try and get someplace safe to eat it, because other fish, I mean, if there's anything coming out, the other fish will want to try and steal the bait from the fish that just ate it, right? Flathead, they're the kings. They don't need to do that. So they'll eat. You'll see the rod just thump, and then they just sit there. And, I've had fish sit there for 2-3 minutes. I mean, and that's a long time to think, like, I'm almost positive I got a fish on, and I can't do anything because they're not moving away, and that circle hook is not getting positioned,
So it's in there.
It's in their mouth, but if I try and reel down real fast, and I usually am fishing with short line like that, if I reel down real fast and they haven't turned, I'm just going to pull the hook out of their mouth. And I've done it, and it's painful when it happens, right? So a lot of times during the day, especially in that specific type of situation, I'll run J hooks, and it's so that I don't care where exactly that hook is in their mouth. I know that I can reel down, and I can, as long as the rod's loading up a little bit, I know that point is finding a spot, and I'm good to set the hook.
So so it's where you're kind of situational.
Yes,
on
absolutely.
the gotcha.
Right. Different drifting. I'm always using the triple thread hooks.
Okay.
Period. Flathead fishing during the day, I'm usually either using J hooks or I will use the Kale circle hooks, and I like those because they're a little thinner gauge and they don't beat up the bait fish if I'm fishing with live bait fish. So,
Man, I am super mind blown today. Yeah, I'm telling you, I think the greatest thing of doing this podcast is it's just the amount of information that I'm absorbing from you guys and just people in general. So definitely appreciate, and hopefully one day I can post a picture so everyone can see that. Look, it works.
Right.
So hopefully one day that happens. What else? I think you wanted to talk a little bit more. What other brands that I think that you are a part of that you recommend for a person like me? Let's say I go buy a kayak. I'm about to start catfishing. Is there specific gear, products that you would recommend? Hey, I think you should look into this, Grandy. This will help you, catch this fish or whatnot. This will help you. Is there anything that you would say, like, this is a must-have I recommend? Besides the hook that you just put, the triple thread hook.
Triple thread
hook. I'll look into that. And then the pole. But then, what else would you say? You know what? You're going to need this, man.
Yeah, well, it's so much. It's funny too because I'm kind of a minimalist, which is you'd laugh if you saw me show up at the at the ramp putting in. But I've always tried to find the balance between what's essential, what do I have to have, and what having enough, Like sometimes because there's so many specialty things that you end up, they're nice to have, but so it depends, right? If you're going to fish in the river, the absolute necessity is that you have an anchor trolley on both sides, right? And brush clips, right? Because you don't want to even, if you got to just leave the anchor at home. If you're fishing in the river, leave the anchor at home because it's really dangerous. And you can do, you can usually get in position to do what you want with brush clips. I have brush clips that I take with me, and I have a little mud stick, right? Mm-hmm. That so if I just need to sit by the bank someplace and there's not something to clip off on, I can just jam it in the mud. Or sometimes like the cut bank side will be just a big wall of mud or dirt, and there's no place good to clip, and I can just jam the mud stick in and then stake. It's just a little stake, and I can clip off to that. So those are imperative just for safety and getting in position, because getting in position is key. If you're lake fishing or reservoir fishing and you want to drift, in my opinion, you have to have some form of drift sock. Got to have a drift sock, because if it's windy, speed is really critical, right? You want to keep if you're drifting, you want to be in usually the sweet spot is like 0.3 to 0.7 miles per hour. And if you start getting up at 1 mile an hour or more, you're not moving slowly. You're moving so fast that the fish don't have time to, they might pick up the scent, but they can't find it, right? So you got to be slower than that. So speed, getting your speed dialed in is mission critical when you're drifting. And so a drift sock is absolutely imperative. And now, if we're talking about brands, I'm obligated, right? I'm under contract.
And that's why I brought you here, because it's okay. I want to know what brands that you use, and that this is the reason why you use it.
Right. So okay. So as far as partnerships with companies, right? The Whisker Seeker, obviously, which we've talked about, and they're sort of my A number one because they're local and because Matt is super good to me. Mm-hmm. I really can't thank them enough. I am also I connected last year with wilderness systems.
All right, so that's the end of part 1. Make sure you guys join next week. You'll be at part 2 and part 3 with Denny at Float Fish Adventures. See you next week.